Ruth 3, 1 through 5. Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, "My daughter, shall I not seek security for you that it may be well with you? Now Boaz, whose young women who you were with, is he not our relative? In fact, he is winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. Therefore, wash yourself and anoint yourself, put on your best garment, and go down to the threshing floor. But do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. Then it shall be, when he lies down, that you shall notice the place where he lies, and you shall go in, uncover his feet, and lie down. And he will tell you what you should do." And she said to her, "All that you say to me, I will do."
Just so you guys know, I'm a pastor here. I'm not the only Christian in this church. There are people in this house who love the Lord and who love people. We have people every single week in homeless shelters, in jails, in recovery houses. If you ever want to serve on these front lines, just let us know. We'll show you the way, and it is. Thanks, Ms. Lori, for sharing. As we come to Ruth 3, I want to ask you to think of a time in your life. Some of you are younger. If you've been alive long enough, maybe you've faced this moment already. You go through something. You go through a season that's so dark and so hopeless, it's hard to see how God could fix it. Like everything they tell you sounds bad. Like I look down the road and I see no way for this situation to be fixed. Last gathering, there was a couple sitting in this section over here. And 2 years ago, their 28-year-old son just fell down one day, paralyzed from the neck down, and no one knew why. Couldn't speak, couldn't swallow. And they had no answers. And for 10 months, he laid in the hospital. It's very easy going through that time to look out and say, I don't see a good ending to this story. I don't see. Has God forgotten us? Where is He? Are we all alone? It's a terrible moment to live in, to feel like the night is forever and the dawn will never rise. This is where we find Naomi, a widow who has buried her husband and her 2 sons. She is so broken in her heart, she literally says, don't call me by my given name. Don't call me Naomi, because her word name in Hebrew, it means pleasant or sweet. So you call me Mara. You call me bitter, for the Lord has dealt bitterly with me. She changed her very name to match what she felt on the inside. And in the midst of the darkness, all of a sudden, a tiny pinprick of light is visible. She begins, out of nowhere, this hopeless woman sees a possibility of hope. Can you imagine? After all the darkness, all the bad news, all the things going wrong, all of a sudden, whoa. Has God remembered us? Is there an end to all this suffering? You see, Naomi's daughter, these 2 women are very poor. Naomi and Ruth are very poor women. Ruth is to go out into the fields and essentially enter into Israel's welfare system to provide for her and her mother-in-law. And Ruth happens to happen into the one field in all Bethlehem where the person who owns the field can help them. And she doesn't just happen to happen. God led her to that field. And Naomi sees it. She goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. This person can help us. So what do you do in that moment when hope comes out of nowhere? What do you do? When you've been in the darkness so long and there's this possibility for salvation. I mean, the wise would tell you to wait on the Lord. But Naomi's done waiting. Chapter 3 and verse 1. When Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to Ruth, my daughter, shall I not seek a state of rest for you that it may be well with you? She goes, Ruth, everything I'm about to do, I do for your benefit. My motivation is to provide you with a better life. I want you to have more than you have right now. I don't want us to live and die in this poverty for the rest of our life. What I'm about to do, I do for us, I do for you. Verse 2, and now, is not Boaz our kinsman, with whose young women you were? Behold, he is winnowing barley at the threshing floor tonight. You shall wash yourself and anoint yourself and put on your best clothes. You shall go down to the threshing floor, but do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. Let it be that when he lies down, you shall know the place where he lies. You shall go, uncover his feet, and lie down. Then he shall tell you what you shall do. And Ruth says, all that you say I will do. What's going on here? Naomi has a plan. And it's a really bad plan. You got to understand when you read this, her plan, she's not waiting on the Lord. She's taking matters into her own hands. She's like, Ruth, this man Boaz, he can change everything for us. If he marries you, our poverty ends. So here's the plan, Ruth. I want you to get cleaned up, do your hair all nice. I want you to wear your best dress. I want you to anoint yourself with perfume and go to the threshing floor where he's working. Now, usually the farmers go home every night, but when it was harvest season, sometimes they would stay out all night working, and they'd sleep at the threshing floor because it was a long, long day of work. Now, this threshing floor place is known as a place of debauchery. It's like deer camp. It's all the guys hanging out. They work all day, they drink, they fall asleep. That's what happens at the threshing floor. The Bible even mentions how women would come to the threshing floor who would sell their wares, who would sell themselves to the men there at the threshing floor. The threshing floor is a very dangerous place. Then it says, Ruth, you go to the threshing floor, you hide. You hide in the shadows, you watch, and you find Boaz. When you see him, see where he lays down and goes to sleep. Then you go to where he's sleeping, you uncover his feet, which is really weird. You lay down at his feet, and you just wait till he wakes up. That's the plan. This is not a good plan. If there were Vegas odds to bet on if this is going to work, the good money is betting against Naomi and Ruth. But here's the fact of the matter. Desperate people do desperate things. This moment, there's this movie I watched when I was in high school called Say Anything. And in that movie, John Cusack holds up a big radio outside a girl's house playing the song In Your Eyes to tell her, I like you so much, right? It's the dramatic move. It's the dramatic move to tell the girl, I like you so much, will you like me back? This is that moment. Ruth's going to Boaz, basically telling Boaz, hey, Boaz, I dig you. I want you to know in this dramatic, crazy way. Now, this is improper. This is highly strange what she's doing. But Ruth says, whatever you tell me to do, I will do. Because they're desperate. And desperate people do desperate things. Desperate people will rob a drug dealer. Desperate people will tell a horrible lie to someone they love. Desperate people do desperate things, and Naomi is desperate. She's like, Ruth, you go to this dangerous place. You go and you put yourself in danger. And you tell this man who doesn't know you very well that you love him. She's basically saying to him with a big old sign, will you marry me? This is a very bold move. Desperate people do desperate things. And how does it play out? Verse 6. She went down to the threshing floor, did according to all her mother-in-law had commanded her. And Boaz ate and drank, and his heart was merry, and he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain, and she came secretly and uncovered his feet and lay down. Is there anything better? Think about Boaz. Is there anything better at the end of a long, physically demanding day to sit down at a table and just throw down on food? It's the best. I remember one day, this happened like 5 years ago, but I still think about it. It was that good of a memory. I was out mowing the lawn, cleaning the gutters, and it's a nice warm day. I'm sweating, just doing the outside work, you know. And I get off the ladder, I'm looking at the yard, I'm like, I did it. I spent 3 hours out here. Look at what I've created. And all of a sudden, I hear my name. It's Angie's like, hey, Nesto. I turn. She's coming out with a plate with a sandwich on it and a cold Coca-Cola. What's better than that? Like, I've sweated, I've worked, and now I get a sandwich I didn't have to make and a Coca-Cola. I've never loved her more. No, just kidding. It was like, and what's better after a hard day's work and a big old meal? The only thing better than that is what? Going to sleep. You worked hard, your body's tired, your belly's full. It's like Thanksgiving, right? You eat all that turkey, and what do? You fall out. Boaz, his body's tired, his belly's full. He goes to sleep. And Ruth waits until the night is late. And she goes up to him sleeping on the ground, uncovers his feet, and lays down and waits. Now, in the ancient Near East, in America, we have our own rooms, right? A lot of us do. I grew up with me and my 3 brothers shared a room our whole lives. But a lot of people have their own rooms. My kids have their own rooms, you know, it's awesome. But in India, in India, places like India, in the Middle East, houses are often a one-room house. So everyone sleeps in the same room. So you might have a family of 8 people sleeping on the ground, Tetrised out, you know, all on the floor. And when people learn to sleep in that kind of setting, when you go to sleep, you sleep hard. Because you can't just wake up every time someone moves, because there's 15 people around you. Someone's always moving or snoring or making noise. In India, you can go up to a kid, no lie, grab him by the ankle, pick him up, and they stay asleep. It's wild. People sleep hard in India. They learn to sleep through the noise. Boaz is out. But it happens to all of us, where you're sleeping, and maybe the blankets move, and all of a sudden one of your feet is outside the cocoon of warmth that is your blankets. And you wake up, oh, my foot, whoosh, and you go back to sleep. The coldness of your feetsies wakes you up. This is the plan. Uncover his feet. He's going to wake up eventually, and when he does, there you are. And it happens. Verse 8. Then it happened in the middle of the night that the man was startled. He bent forward, and behold, a woman was lying at his feet. I've had some adventures in my life. Never had this one happen to me. Never. No. You'd be like, what? Look around. How much did I drink last night? You're like, what's happening? And there's this girl down there, and he goes, who are you? And this is the moment Ruth goes against Naomi's plan. Naomi told Ruth, just stay there and don't talk. Ruth's like, I've got to say something. She says, I am Ruth, your maidservant. So spread your wing over your maidservant, for you are my kinsman redeemer. I love this. I'm Ruth, the girl who works in your fields. And she says to him, spread your wing over your maidservant. This is a powerful thing she says. When Boaz first meets Ruth, Boaz prays for her, and Boaz's prayer, Boaz says, I pray the Lord may spread his wing over you and your mother-in-law. And here, Ruth quotes that right back to him. Ruth says to Boaz, I want you to be the answer to your own prayer. You prayed that God would care for me. I want you to be the one to care for us. You spread your wing over our family. You spread your strength and make our life better. You see, desperate people are desperate for a redeemer. You are my kinsman redeemer. Spread your wing over me. She asked him, basically, will you marry me? What is a kinsman redeemer? In the Levitical laws, there's a lot of them. One of the Levitical laws says that if a man dies with no sons, no heirs, his next of kin, his brother, can marry the widow, give her a child, and that son will receive the inheritance of the dead husband. And it saves the family. It regains what the family lost. It redeems what has been taken. And that family now will have an inheritance going forward. She goes, you are our relative. You can marry me and give our family a chance. You can give us our inheritance back, and we won't be destitute, and we won't be poor. It's a sad thing that for many of us. Well, first, Ruth, think about how vulnerable she's being here. I ask you, put your wing over me and my family. Be our kinsman redeemer. Such vulnerability. As Americans, many of us rarely ask for help, and we never want to show our cards to show how truly needy we are. I was in Nashville at a conference, and this man spoke. This man was in a wheelchair. He navigated up on the stage. Looked like he'd been born with some kind of disease or condition where his body didn't grow. His arms did not work. His legs did not work. The muscles never fully came to fruition. They put the iPad on his wheelchair and he read this speech. He grew up, his parents thought, this young man will never ever live on his own because he can't feed himself, he can't bathe himself, he can't use the bathroom by himself. He will always be in our house. We must always take care of our son. But he told his story how he made some really good friends and they all moved out together. And his two buddies, they fed him and they bathed him and they helped him use the bathroom. And one day his buddy asked him, what are you afraid of in this life? And this man, Kevin, gave this answer. He said, I am afraid that someday the novelty of my handicap will wear off and you guys will leave me and I will be all alone again. Such vulnerability. I remember sitting out there in the audience just crying because I'm like, who has the courage to admit this deep fear? Most of us will never admit to ourselves what we're afraid of, let alone tell somebody else. This Kevin told his friends his great fear, and Ruth tells Boaz, this is what I need from you. I want you to save me. Desperate people are desperate for a redeemer, and often it's not until we are desperate that we actually ask for redemption. In America, when recession comes, in 2008, when the economy fell, do you know what happened to churches across America? They filled up. When the money's flowing, I don't need God, I don't need nobody. But when things are hard, then maybe I look up. What do they say? There are no atheists in foxholes. Ruth is desperate. In her desperation, she asks Boaz, will you save me? What's he going to do? It's a big ask. Because if he marries her and they have a child, the inheritance is split between his own name and the name of the dead relative. It's a very sacrificial thing to redeem someone. You give up your family's own strength to see this dead family member have a chance at inheritance. Boaz says this. Then he said, may you be blessed of Yahweh, my daughter. He doesn't respond like, man, get out of here. You're weird. He could, man. That's a weird thing. But he sees the boldness. And instead of being like thrown off of the boldness, he is blown away by her boldness. May you be blessed of Yahweh, my daughter. You have shown your last loving kindness, your last hesed love, to be better than the first by not going after young men, whether poor or rich. So now, my daughter, do not fear. All that you say, I will do for you. For all my people in the gates of the city know that you are a woman of excellence. He says, Ruth, I would be honored to make you my wife. Everyone in this village knows that you are a good, godly woman. I will marry you, and I will spread my wing over you and bring your family salvation. God can redeem the desperate. Then he says, verse 12, but now it is true that I am a kinsman redeemer. However, there is a redeemer closer than I. Stay this night, and it will be in the morning that if he will redeem you, good, let him redeem you. If he does not desire to redeem you, then I will redeem you as Yahweh lives. Lie down until morning. He tells her, listen, I am a kinsman, but there's someone closer than me, and they have dibs. You guys know dibs? You heard of dibs? This guy's got dibs. He gets first call. If he wants his dibs, I can't do nothing. But if he says no, I will care for you and your mother-in-law. I will redeem your dead husband's inheritance. You see, God redeemed Ruth through Boaz. And God redeems us through his son, Jesus Christ. Boaz is a picture of Jesus Christ. Boaz is willing to be inconvenienced, to give up his wealth to save this family. In the same way that Boaz is willing to give up his strength for someone else, so Christ, who was rich, became poor for us. Ephesians 1 says the following. Ephesians 1 says this. Ephesians 1 is this wonderful sentence. Paul gets all excited and can't stop talking about how awesome the Lord is. And he just does this massive run-on sentence for like 2 paragraphs, how great God is. In the middle of this praising, he says, in Christ, we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of our transgressions, according to the riches of his grace, which he caused to abound to us all in wisdom and insight. In him we have redemption through his blood. Ruth needed Boaz to save her physically. I'll say this to us. I don't know if you've ever felt the desperation in your own soul, but we need our spirit, our soul, our lives, our heart to be redeemed. I took this brother, this good friend of mine, with me to Nashville. He doesn't go to church very much. So we go to this conference, it's a Christian conference, and he's a musician, so he had to play his songs in these song circles. They pick your name out of like a fishbowl and you play your jam. It's really scary. I can't imagine doing that, but it was really cool. I didn't go to that because I can't do the thing. I went to the writing stuff. But as we're leaving, he said, man, this Christian environment's different. Because he goes to song circles in the church world. Now he usually goes in the non-church world, in the unbelieving world. He said, I see one main difference between this Christian group and the unchristian circles I go to. I'm like, what's that? I'm afraid to be like, you guys are jerks. Like, I don't know what to say. He goes, the musicians here seem more put together. Like, what do you mean? He's like, well, out in the non-Christian ones, their music, they're hoping the music will save them. That being discovered and making it will bring meaning to their life. But the Christians already have meaning. They found salvation in Christ, and the music they make is an outpouring of what the Lord has already done. They've been redeemed by the Lord. I want to say to you, if you're here and you don't know Jesus Christ, He can redeem sinners. As Lori and Jesus went into the jail, all they did was tell their story of how the Lord redeemed them, saved them, changed them, lifted them out of the muck and the mire and put their feet upon the rock. That story's powerful. And listen, you don't have to have a story that's like, I was the worst dude in the world, man. I ate dogs and I was crazy. And then the Lord changed me. You don't got to be crazy. The Lord, like my wife met the Lord when she was 4 years old. And she never left Him. She never rebelled and went crazy. The Lord saved her from all the pain that this life can. He saved her from so much pain, from so much self-inflicted pain. What a testimony is that? I listened to the Lord, and He cared for me my whole life. That's a good testimony. So a few things I want to say to us is this. First, I want to say this. If you're in a desperate time, I would encourage you, maybe not be like Naomi. I know desperate people do desperate things, but sometimes being crazy doesn't go good for us. So the Lord was kind of Naomi, but that level of nuts sometimes goes bad. So wait on the Lord. I would say that. I also say if you find in your heart you have no idea who the God of heaven is, I would say turn to Christ and let Him redeem you. Now I want to end our time together. What is, in the English language, what is the most popular song ever written about Jesus? It's Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace is translated into many, many languages. Amazing Grace is a song about the power of Jesus to redeem and the joy, the absolute joy that comes from being saved by Christ. So, in case I don't remember the words or something, we're going to end our time by singing this song together. I want to invite you to please stand where you are. Now I want to invite you to join me in singing this song about the joy of being redeemed by Jesus Christ. Amazing grace, how
Grace and peace to you, church. God bless you.